time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Obliterated.
Target remains. I repeat, target remains.
The target remains. Look, this is not to say that the United States military did not deal a severe blow to Iran when they destroyed those nuclear sites in those three locations, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. A blow was delivered, but it falls very short of what our president said in that press conference. He said they were obliterated. Now, in case you didn't know, we're going to talk about what the word obliterated means first. Here is the dictionary definition of the word obliterate. Obliterated is the past tense of the word obliterate, which means to destroy utterly, to wipe out. Similar words: destroy, wipe out, annihilate, exterminate, extirpate, demolish. It seems that Donald Trump, even in his second term as president of the United States, has not learned the lesson that words matter. When you say that you have obliterated something, and then we see a satellite image and we still see buildings, and hey, I'm just a layperson, but that looks like it's been damaged, but not obliterated. And that is why I believe some of the higher officials who I don't think have ever served in the positions that they are serving in right this minute, but some of the officials in his administration said, hey, we need to do a battlefield damage assessment before we tell you whether or not we obliterated this target. But before seeing the damage for what it really was, Donald Trump comes out and declares this huge victory, when in fact we, the United States, may have only set back the Iranian nuclear program by months, not even years, months. And that to me is an L. That is an L for this administration. And then we look, and according to ABC News, they have these satellite images. This is where I pulled the pictures that you just saw. These satellite images show the extent of U.S. bombing damage to Iran nuclear sites. And experts weigh in on the damage to Fordo, Isfahan, and Natanz. In the wake of Midnight Hammer, the U.S. operation to bomb Iran's three main nuclear sites, some of the first looks at damage to the locations are coming from satellite imagery of the secretive sites. President Donald Trump said the three Iranian nuclear facilities hit by the U.S. on Saturday, Fordo, Isfahan, and Natanz, were completely and totally obliterated. Now, again, we've already went through what the definition of obliterated is. Obliterated is what my grandchildren do to my bedroom if I leave them alone for 5 or 6 seconds. That is obliterated. What we saw here is some damage. But anyway, others in the administration have been more circumspect, saying a full battlefield damage assessment needs to be made first. I know that the battle damage is of great interest. Final battle damage will take some time, but initial battle damage assessments indicate that all three sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction. Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dane Raisin Kane said on ABC News this week on Sunday, I think the BDA battlefield damage assessment is still pending and way too early to comment on what may or may not be there. One of the things that is there is a big ass building, and I would think that if stuff was totally obliterated, there wouldn't be a big ass building. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know everything. I'm just some grandmama who watches the news and reads and studies. And investigates. What they like to say, do my own research. I do that shit. Yeah. But you remember, I said that our airstrikes may have set the Iranian nuclear program back by months, not even years. And I'm not an expert, so where did I get that idea from? I'm so glad you asked. I got it from here. As of the time of recording, which is June 24th at 4:15 p.m. That's what time I'm recording this. This article is the latest information that we have, and it came out today, June 24th at 2:55 p.m. ABC News. Early U.S. intel assessment finds strikes set back Iran's nuclear program only by months. It's at odds with President Trump's claim it was obliterated. There's that word again, because words matter. When you say something is obliterated, that means it does not remain. It doesn't remain. If the target still remains, it's not obliterated. But anywho, let's read a little of this article. I'm not going to read it all, but it will be linked in the show notes if you want to read it all. The U.S. military strikes President Donald Trump ordered on Iran's nuclear facilities did not completely destroy the country's nuclear program and likely set it back only by months, according to two people familiar with an early intelligence assessment. That's our intelligence, not the intelligence that he used to justify going in with the airstrikes. That was Israeli intelligence. American intelligence is saying, not so fast. Number one, we probably shouldn't have even gone in. And number two, nothing's obliterated. The shit's still there. We might have slowed them down by a month or two, but they'll be right back at it by, say, September. Anywho, the initial report, which is highly classified, was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency and U.S. Central Command. That's our people. Sources say the U.S. believes, based on early intelligence, that significant damage was done, but mostly to structures above ground. Why does that matter? Because the uranium enrichment facilities, where they're doing all of the development of this uranium to make it into nuclear power, happens underground. So if you only hurt the above ground, and a lot of the damage that should have been underground is overground, we ain't did nothing. We didn't do nothing but waste probably about $100 million. According to the sources, the enriched uranium was not destroyed. Centrifuges are largely intact. The findings are at odds with President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Kegbreath insisting that Iran's nuclear program had been obliterated. In his most recent comments Tuesday morning, Trump told reporters, I think it's been totally demolished. I think. Not sure. I think. Anyway, when asked to comment Tuesday, Kegbreath stuck by his own assessment of the damage done based on the intelligence he's seen, which you might as well be showing Mr. Magoo something. He is blind to the bullshit. Hegseth don't know what he's looking at. You could be showing him an ultrasound and he would believe, yes, it's been obliterated. But anyway, based on everything we've seen, and I've seen it all, that doesn't mean you understand it. Our bombing campaign obliterated Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons, he said in a statement provided to reporters. Our massive bombs hit exactly the right spot. Why does it sound like they're always talking about sex? Like, doesn't it sound real erotic, the way that they describe things, him and Trump? And he's just parroting what Trump said. But him and Trump, they really sound like they get off on this type of stuff. But anyway, our massive bombs hit exactly the right spot at each target and worked perfectly. The impact of those bombs is buried under a mountain of rubble in Iran. So anyone who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president and the successful mission. Is the mountain pregnant? That is the question. Okay, so we see that they're sticking with their story. So I want to say, good job, military. Good job, soldiers. Because you can only do what you can do with the intelligence that you have been given. And there is nothing intelligent about this administration. Nothing at all. So you would take no blame if those bunker buster bombs didn't bust the bunker and things have not been obliterated or devastated or pregnant. This is not your fault. This is the fault of Donald Trump for getting in over his skis. This is the fault of Pete Kegbreath for being himself, just being Pete. And for people who continue to enable this really horrible, corrupt president, when he's caught in a lie, or when he gets ahead of himself, or when he talks too much shit and can't back it up, people go around and try to fix the things that he says. You said what you said, and words matter. If you think words matter, and if you think the difference between obliterating something, which means you can never ever ever use that again, and it is broke for 2 months. If you think that those two things are the same, I'm gonna hear from you in the comments anyway. So go ahead on down there, unpaid interns, and get your load off. Everybody else, if you have something that you'd like to add, put it in the comments below. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Hopefully I dropped some knowledge. I do not spill tea. You deserve so much more than just tea. See you in the next one. Peace. If those bunker buster bombs did not bump those bunker bust.
Every share y'all make us fly. Together we shine brighter than the sky. From shout outs to comments, we see every word. Y'all the reason Tasha's voice gets heard. Subscribers growing, lighten up the day. With your support, we'll never fade away. Thank you, UnWrapped fam, you keep us strong. Keep us strong. Your love and your faith help us move along. Help us move along. Every click, every share, y'all make us fly. Y'all make us fly. Together we shine brighter than the sky. Brighter than the sky. Roll call for the peeps who keep it alive. Patron super chats all here on the drive. Tasha got the mic, but you fuel the vibe. This channel's a party and y'all keep it live.
Monthly supporters, give y'all a cheer. Live stream energy, you bring the gear. Every episode's magic, cause of y'all's touch.